G'day all, welcome back again to Dad vs Son. Avalanche presses Panzer Grenadier Kokoda campaign, third introductory scenario, and a partridge in a pear tree. We're about to go on with the 3:30 turn. The Australians are down to initiative 1 as they've lost 2 steps, and the Japanese are down to initiative 2 as they've lost 3 steps. That gives the Australians 15 victory points at the moment because they hold all of the airfield and the village hexes at the moment, and 2 victory points for the Japanese. We've ended up with 2 assaults going on. These guys here with their lieutenant that they've lost jumped in and tried to assault into here and did some damage, as you can see, and the lieutenant colonel here jumped out of the village and assaulted into here and did some damage, though we took a step loss here as well. So things are looking interesting with only 3 turns to go. So let's get into it. Initiative for the Australians first is a 1 plus 5 is 6, and the Japanese is a 2 plus 3 is 5. Difference of 1 halved is half, rounded up is 1 activation for the Australians. So let's get this out of the way. The Australians are both in assault hexes, so there's not much we can do there, so we'll just bring this over like this. I think what we need to do first up is I would really love to attack into here. Now these blokes are in assault, and they can assault because they can be activated by this lieutenant here into here. So I need to fix assault hex or assault map 1 or zone 1 up first. So these guys here are going to have to try and do a recovery. There's nothing else I can do. At least they can defend properly then, rather than just get hit. So we'll do the demoralized guy first. He's full strength, which is a 7. So he needs a 6 or less and fails. But it's not another demoralized one. It's only a disrupted. So he's got to pull back. Ooh, he has to retreat. He has to run away. Okay, now he's in here. So I think what we want to do is pull him back to here. But he can still be seen. So that's 1 to there. Where do we go? Everything is, this is going to be 2, 3 to here. So I think we need to go up to there, like that. We still have units in here. So nobody is going to get shot at as he goes away, which is good. So he is done. Righto, now we've got to do this guy who's reduced. So he is a 6. So he needs a 5 or less and fails. But it's only another disrupted, so nothing happens to him. Yeesh, but he's only going to be defending with a 1 half strength. Now, do I move a lieutenant out with him. If I do that now, I think he has to become disrupted. Oh, I think that's fine. 889, it's not really going to make a great difference. So yeah, we'll move him out as well. And I think he becomes disrupted. Right. So that is that, and these guys are done, and that is the one activation for us, which leaves an activation for the Japanese now, their first activation. And I reckon what they want to do is bring in some firepower. Now, so I think they want to do an assault. Now, if we look at the assault table, at the moment they've got 7, so they're on the 5. They can either bring in an engineer or a platoon of infantry. I think we'll activate the lieutenant. In fact, we might activate the lieutenant. And an engineer. No, lieutenant and infantry. And they are going to assault into Hex 1 here. So I'm just going to grab those 2 and bring them over here like that. And the lieutenant is activating these guys as well for the assault. These guys are spotted. These guys are spotted. Righto. Now, these guys have already activated, so they're not going to get first fire or anything else. So we have 4, 8, 12. It's a bit small time being on assault combat. So they're on the 9 column. But they pick up 1 for the leader, 1 for morale, and they pick up 1 for being Japanese. So it's a 24 column. They get a 6 on the 24, which is an M2. Okay, so Japanese M2. And the Australians fire back with a 1. They've got an undemoralized leader, which takes them up to the 3 column, and that is it. They get a 9 on the 3 column, which is a nothing. Okay, so we have an M2 on the Australians. So we'll do the lieutenant first. He's an 8, so that becomes a 6 or less. Fails and is demoralized. Oh, sorry, disrupted. The sergeant is a 7 or less, and he's fine. And the reduced unit is a 6, so that becomes a 4 or less, and fails and is disrupted again. And disrupted plus disrupted is demoralized. But he's going to shoot back anyway with a defend with a 1 to start with. And that did no good at all. So that is that. Nobody lost any steps. And we are done. So that is 2 activations for... sorry, 1 activation for each side. So we're back to the Australians. And I think we will rock you. Yes. We are going to assault. We're in the assault hex here. So we have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, which puts us on the 9 column. We have a leader, which puts us on the 13 column, and that's all we get. So we're on the 13 column. We get a 5 on the 13, which is an M2. And the Japanese are defending with a 2, a 3, a 4. So on the 3 column, they've got the captain, which makes it a 5. Even they're demoralized. Now let's see. He is full strength, which is a 9. Demoralized is an 8. So they still have better morale than here. So we started on the 3 column. We've got the leader, we've got morale, we've got Japanese. So 13 column for a 10 is a step loss. Okay. That 1x. So let's do this first. Away. In fact, I'll do the Japanese first. They've got an M2. So the captain is an 8, so that becomes a 6 or less. Passes. Mr. Disrupted Man is a 9 minus 2 is a 7 or less. Fails and becomes demoralized. And Mr. Demoralized Man is a 9, becomes an 8, becomes a 6 or less, and fails. That's a demoralized plus a disrupted. Bum, 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 bum. He takes a step loss, I believe. Whoop. It's a step loss, which is a victory point for the... I'll work them out later. That's fine. So if he takes a step loss, then they need to do an M2. No, that was for a step loss. So no, that's just it. So they're both demoralised. That's all done. Righto, so we have a step loss for the Australians. So that's going to go on to here. Flipping. It's another step loss for Australia. And then we need to do an M2 on these guys. So the Lieutenant Colonel is a 9, so it's a 7 or less. Passes. The Lieutenant is an 8, so that's a 6 or less. Fails miserably and is demoralized. We don't have any bonuses, so we have a 7 minus 2 is a 5 or less. Fails and is disrupted. Reduced is a 6 minus 2 is a 4 or less and is disrupted. And we have a 6 minus 2 is a 4 or less. And he's disrupted and is demoralized. And we need to do a check on the Lieutenant Colonel for a leader loss. So a 3 or less, no loss there. Okay, so that is done. We go to the Japanese, and I think we're going to do a recovery here to start with. So we have no bonuses, so we'll do this unit first. He is a 9, an 8, so he needs 7 or less. Passes and improves to disrupted. And this guy here is an 8, is a 7. So he needs a 6 or less, gets a 9 and is wiped out. So we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. And we can flip him over and send him to the graveyard like that, and they are done. Wow. The mutual destruction. Okay. We're back to the Australians, and I think we're done then, because I was just an idiot and closed that down. All the Australians have activated in Zone 2, activated in Zone 1. There's nobody to activate in there at all. These guys have activated up here. The Australians have nothing to activate. They pass, which leaves the Japanese for their third activation, and they're going to activate both of these guys to move. Both, one, both. One. Just going to activate this guy here, who's going to go 1. He's not getting closer to the enemy or anything else. He goes 2. He's still 3 hexes away. 2, 3. He goes 1, 2. He can't go up there, so he stops there. He's ready to move up if need be. Like that, and he is not spotted anymore. His line of sight is only 1 hex, so they're not spotted anymore. Australians got nothing to do. The Australians had 2 activations. That's all they could do. So we're back to the Japanese. And they will activate the lieutenant here with his mob. And they are all going to move straight up here. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. And they are done. Like that. Back to the Australians, nothing to do, and the Japanese pass as well. So that is that. Okay, so we have no losses for the Japanese out here. I need to mark this guy, and this guy as spotted. Now, so no losses out here whatsoever. On the graveyard. The Japanese have lost 2, 4, 5 steps. So they've had 5 steps. So the Australians hold the airfields, that's 3, 6. They still hold all of the village. So that's 6, and 6 is 12, and 5 is 17 victory points for the Australians. Now the Australians have lost no steps there. So no steps on the map, but in the assault map, we've lost 1 step, 2 steps, and that's it. 3 steps there. So 3 step losses for the Australians is 3 victory points for the Japanese. And that is that. So we're not down to initiative 0 yet, and we're not quite down to initiative 1 there yet either. So we can get rid of the, we didn't do the, well, we've got nothing to do with the artillery this time because we're all in. And I don't want to be firing on my own troops anyway. So we can clear markers. So there is a damn fine chance that the Japanese next turn can probably take Assault Hex 1. It's just a pity the Japanese lost their other lieutenant because, yeah, getting this bloke can move to there if these don't move. If these guys have to retreat further, then this guy's going to be able to move up, which is wonderful. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But there's a good chance that the Japanese may well take this assault hex in Kokoda village next turn. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to attack with these guys as such, but I should be able to defend. If I try and attack at the moment, I'm going to be attacking with 2, 3, 4 against 2, 3. And they get an extra anyway. So, yeah, I'll probably need to attack anyway with these disrupted guys. But I'd rather... Probably I'm going to need the best defense I can get. So, realistically, I may need to try and recover these guys. Maybe pull the lieutenant colonel out, which is a pain in the bottom. If I can get the lieutenant up, fixed up. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It's looking messy, that's for sure. So that is the end of the 3:30 turn. We go up to 3:45, which is the second last turn. 1, 2, 3. The Japanese really want the village, and that's why they get 3 VP for village hexes. They only get 2 VP for airfield hexes. That's why I'm really concentrating here more than anything else. So, but the Australians get more VP for here. So if we can take one of these, then the Australians lose 3 VP and the Japanese gain 2 VP. So it's a +1 for each of these that we get. Conversely, if we take these, they'll lose 2. Let me get this right. Yeah, the villages are worth 2 for the Australians. So, yeah, so we get a +1 taking these, which is good. So, yeah, to take 2 off the Australians and give us 3. So, that's a 5 difference, which is what we want to do to try and bring back this victory point deficit. So that's where we are. So again, I think I got it right. If not, I'm sure you'll let me know. And I think I'm just going to keep playing this through anyway for the last 2 turns before I put them all up. And then, yeah, we'll just let it play out. I think you're all sick enough with watching these introductory scenarios. So we'll get them out of the way. And then we can try and get into a campaign and see how we go. So take care, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.